Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Drew back again with another video for all you soccer fans out there. And in this one, we're going to talk about the 2019 MLS Cup Final, again between Seattle Sounders against Toronto FC in Seattle at CenturyLink Field. This video is going to be previewing that final, who I think is going to win and who I think should win, and I guess who I want to win. You'll find out later on in this video. We're going to break down the teams, to break down who their star players are and what could happen. So without further ado, let's get started. But before we do, of course, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below and that like button as well to help support the channel. And be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter right here on the screen. Alright, let's get to the game. As you may already know, this is the third meeting between Toronto and Seattle in the MLS Cup Final. The last one being, of course, in 2016 when Toronto lost at home to Seattle in a 0-0 draw when they lost on penalties, I believe 5-4. And then the second one coming in 2017 where Toronto won 2-0 against Seattle to lift the MLS Cup. This one, of course, being their third meeting together. This is going to be the tiebreaker to see, I guess, who's going to win more MLS Cups between the other one. These teams have a history, long-running history already in MLS Cup Finals. A big rivalry between them just based off, the way they meet up with each other in finals like this. So a little bit of rivalry there. It's going to be really intense and really excited to see. These two teams were really not predicted to be in this final this year. A lot of people thought it was going to be Atlanta versus LAFC, but of course Toronto really did away with Atlanta, and of course Seattle did away with LAFC. So that was some crazy turn of events here and some crazy underdog stuff going on here. But of course we got two of these previous reigning champions of MLS facing off again, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. So let's break down each team real quick. Let's talk about first with Seattle Sounders. Of course, when we talk about Seattle, we got to talk about Jordan Morris. A rejuvenated season for Jordan Morris this year. A player who really had a lot of potential a couple years ago, really kind of faded into the background, had a pretty bad injury. But then after that came in a new role with him playing on the wings more than a regular striker. And that really rejuvenated him for this team and for his career as a whole. And hopefully for the U.S. national team as well going forward, hopefully. Jordan Morris was one of the players I was excited to see being rejuvenated, having a really great season, scoring I believe 14 goals already this past MLS season, and scoring some goals along the way during this playoff season. Of course, also we can talk about another striker, that being Raul Rudiaz, a prolific and very underrated striker, I'd say, in MLS and maybe around the world. This Peruvian international, one of my favorites because he's Peruvian and so am I, so obviously I support him. But what really surprised me is that he performs really well at club level, scoring again, I believe also 14 goals this past season with MLS. He really doesn't get that recognition from the national team of Peru. Really not their main striker, kind of always second fiddle to Paulo Guerrero. But I think Raul Rudiaz, is time for him to really make an impact national team-wise. And this, of course, he did. He was one of the main components into destroying LAFC. So this guy is not someone to take lightly. He'll score on you. I believe him and Jordan Morris will link up perfectly going forward against Toronto. The last key player I want to talk about for Seattle, of course, that being Nicolas Lodeiro, another great player for Seattle who's had a really good playoff postseason so far. Another reason why Seattle are in the final right now. He's going to be a key to this team, key to the midfield, key to a perfect attacking Sounders game, and I'm really excited to see him link up with Raul Diaz, Jordan Morris, Will Bruin up front. It's going to be an insane attacking game from Seattle, and it's going to start at the heart there with Nicolas Lodeiro. Of course, the big thing also, Seattle Sounders does have home field advantage, which is definitely going to make a huge difference. They already hyping this game up. They want to break records at the stadium. They want to break decibel records up, talk about how loud the stadium is going to be. So the city is going to show up, and I believe they will. They are one of the best supported teams in MLS history and of all time. So I definitely know that this Seattle team is going to have the backing of their fans, and it's going to be their 12th man. So that's going to be very, very, very intimidating for Toronto FC to go there against this kind of home field advantage. But also we have to remember that Seattle did go away to Toronto for MLS Cup Final, like I said earlier, and they did win. So Seattle Sounders has to be also cautious that Toronto could be performing an upset there at home for Seattle. Now let's go ahead and talk about Toronto FC. Obviously, when we talk about Toronto, we got to talk about Josie Altidore, but he is still not 100% fit. There's still doubts whether he's going to play or not. And if I was a manager, I'd be like, look, Josie, You're probably the best striker we have on this team. But look, we can't risk you getting even more injured, or we can't risk playing a man down, because you guys know if Josie Altidore does play tomorrow, he is not going to be 100% fit. He won't be 100% at his best. So Toronto FC will already be playing a man down because Josie will not be the same Josie that they want him to be. So that attacking quality is gonna have to come from somewhere else. Of course, that probably being Pozuelo. Pozuelo will be crucial to creating chances for Toronto and hopefully also finishing chances for Toronto FC from midfield. A great attacking midfielder who a lot of people say replaced Giovinco, and I'd say, yeah, I think he's had a really great first season with Toronto FC, and what better way to finish off this first season than scoring in the final for Toronto and also lifting the trophy for Toronto and showing them, hey, you know what, you guys lost Giovinco, but guess what, you got Pozuelo now, so deal with that. But we also got to talk about the midfield behind Pozuelo, that being, of course, Michael Bradley, Osorio, and Marky Delgado. All three of them really tough in midfield. They're not afraid to get their hands dirty, great at winning balls back, great at keeping control, keeping the tempo of the game. That is going to be a really, really hard midfield for Seattle Sounders to really take apart. I think that Toronto has a stronger midfield than Seattle does, and I think if Toronto is able to control the game with these three players I mentioned and really get Pozuelo going, I think that they're going to have a really easy game against Seattle, because like I said, I don't think Seattle has a strong midfield compared to Toronto, but I do believe Seattle has a stronger attack than Toronto FC. But like I said, Toronto does not have Josie, but they have a big mix of players who can show up randomly and score in games. So I'm not going to put past any of these players from scoring. I believe literally anybody on this team can go ahead and make a goal for this team. Toronto FC is also undefeated in the last 13 MLS games, so that is something incredible. They have such great form right now. They're on fire, so they're hyped up. I don't think they're going to be as intimidated with this home field advantage from Seattle with this great 13 undefeated streak so far. Like I said, it's a cup final. Anything can happen. So don't listen to all the bookies. Don't listen to all the the numbers out there. Who's got a better chance of winning? It's all going to be different when it's on the field, when the players are there playing against each other. A final is never really that cut and dry where you can predict any single game. But if you were going to leave it up to me to decide who's going to win and who I want to win, who I think is going to win, I think I'd go ahead and pick Seattle Sounders. I think, like I said earlier, they got a great attacking line with Rudiez, Morris, Will Bruin, Nicolas Lodero. They've got lots of attacking quality. Stephen Fry in goal is also solid. I think this team has what it takes, and with the home field advantage, which I believe is going to play a big part in motivating these players to be at their best, because they want to win this trophy at home in the face of their fans and lift. And it's going to be insane for Seattle there. I feel like Seattle has a bigger home field advantage than Toronto did back in 2016. I think that's going to be the big difference there for them. I just think Toronto, without Josie Altidore up top, I really don't see them being as dangerous. Like I said, they got a strong midfield, so hopefully that can help boost their momentum going forward. But without a main, prolific striker up top, they're just going to rely on Pozuelo, and I feel like if Seattle Sounders is able to close down Pozuelo's, space and time on the ball, I think they'll kind of be nullified. Toronto, it makes sense to me. And who I want to win, Seattle Sounders. I don't want to sound too crazy or dumb, but I want an American team to lift this trophy once again. Toronto FC, obviously a Canadian team, but I want an American team to go ahead and lift this trophy against a Canadian team. Maybe it's because I'm so bitter about Canada defeating the USA a couple months ago, but that's how I want it, right? Does that make sense to you? Because it makes sense to me, and that's what I want to happen. I want Seattle Sounders to go ahead and win this trophy again. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. As always, thank you so much for watching. Before you guys go, be sure you leave your thoughts and opinions down below, and make sure you guys check back on this channel. First of all, make sure you subscribe and check back on this channel after the game is done, because we're going to be talking about what happened in the game and who won, and talk about what's next for that champion. So let me know your thoughts down below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for kicking it with me, and I'll see you next time. Peace.